You know that feeling, right? You're staring at a spreadsheet, just a wall of numbers, and you feel completely lost. It's like you've been given this data that's supposed to give you answers, but really, it just feels like a giant puzzle with half the pieces missing. Well, today, we're going to talk about a much better way to do things, how to turn that puzzle into a really powerful story. I want you to think about the last data report you had to sit through. Was it just a dense spreadsheet, or maybe one of those dashboards that's so crammed with charts and graphs you didn't even know where to start looking? Yeah, it's a super common problem. The very data that's supposed to make things clear often ends up creating way more confusion. And this really shows the two roads we can take with our data. Over on one side, you've got your typical static report. It's passive, it's confusing, and let's be honest, it's totally forgettable like 5 minutes after the meeting is over. But then, look at the other side. Narrative dashboards. These are engaging, they're insightful, and they're built to be memorable. That is the big shift we're going to dive into today. Okay, so before we go any further, let's nail down our main idea here. What in the world is data storytelling? Really? At its heart, it's all about this idea of transformation. You're not just showing numbers, you're taking that raw, impersonal data and weaving it into a real narrative, one that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The whole point is to go beyond just spitting out facts, and instead pull your audience in by showing them the powerful insights that are kind of hiding inside all those numbers. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Transform your presentation into a great story through dashboard storytelling. It's not about just making a few little tweaks to a report. No. This is about completely rethinking your whole approach and using that dashboard as your primary storytelling tool. And that idea brings us to a really cool metaphor that I think can completely change how you look at your work. Let's start thinking about your dashboard as a stage. So often, we just see a dashboard as a utility, right? It's just a place to dump our charts. But what if we saw it differently? What if we imagined it as an actual stage? This is the platform where the whole drama of your data, all the conflicts, the resolutions, the big discoveries, gets to play out live for your audience. And on this stage, your individual data points, those are the characters in your story. And the trends, the spikes, the dips, the plateaus, that's your plot. So for instance, instead of just showing a line graph of rising sales, your dashboard could tell the story of a new product launch. The marketing campaign is Act 1, the first customer reviews are the rising action, and that huge spike in sales, that's the climax of your story. When you see it that way, everything just feels so much more alive, doesn't it? So we get what data storytelling is and how to frame it. But now, let's talk about the why. What's the end game here? Well, it's all about sparking discovery. And this right here is such a critical distinction to make. The old way was just to report stuff. Here's what happened last quarter, It's a totally passive experience. The new goal is to create something that's way more active and collaborative. And this is how that new objective breaks down. The first step is to engage participation. You want people leaning in, asking questions, getting involved. From there, you want to encourage them to make their own discoveries within the data you're showing them. The visualizations you build are simply the tools that make that journey of discovery possible. You're not just a presenter anymore, you're more like a guide. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground here, so let's take a second and boil all of this down into a few key takeaways you can start using pretty much immediately. First off, make that fundamental shift. Stop creating static, forgettable reports and start telling engaging stories with your data. Second, start to reimagine your dashboard. It's not just a tool, it's the stage for your whole narrative. And finally, always remember your goal. Don't just report. Your real aim is to spark active participation and guide your audience toward making their own aha moments. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. The next time you open up your own data, your own dashboards, I want you to ask yourself, what incredible story is just sitting in there waiting to be told?